Marek. The speech I have today, I don't think it should be told when I'm so high from everyone else, but it should be told where I'm at the same level as everyone else. When I was a young kid, whenever my father would stay out longer than what he had told me earlier, I would just find a secluded place in the home, take a pillow, put my face in it, and start crying. I would cry and I would pray that he would return safely. And I would do it until the point I would hear the doorbell and he would enter the house, and I would hear his voice that would indicate to me that he's back. I would just quickly remove everything, wash my face, and just pretend that nothing happened. And that still hasn't changed. 29 years and 6 months. And every time I know that my father is out, or for that matter, any loved one is out, I have the same anxiety, same stress that I just simply cannot control. I don't cry like I used to, but I feel the same feelings that I felt at that time. And for a long time, I have no idea how to deal with that. I think it's normal for us to feel anxiety and stress about our loved ones when we think they may be in trouble. But I think what I feel is not normal, because my sister, who has been suffering because of my attitude, because every time she goes on a longer trip, I ask her to call me every day or something like that, she says, "Dan, this is not normal, this is psycho." Which tells me that what I feel is not exactly normal. This is my inner demon. This is my inner demon that I have struggled for a very long time, and I still do, and fight on everyday basis, being stressed and nervous about my loved ones. But imagine if I feel this much stress and anxiety about my loved ones, how much I feel about myself. It's even more, and I have no idea when it first happened, but for as long as I can remember, one day suddenly I would get a feeling that I'm going to die in very, very soon. And that's a very strong feeling that gives me a lot of stress and anxiety, because just a lot of thoughts go through my mind, and then I want to do everything as soon as possible and make an impact so people remember, and maybe that's the reason I do so much of Toastmasters and speaking, because inside I feel like I don't have as much time as others. I don't know, but I digress here. Last year, on 6th of July, 6th of January, in the middle of winter, me and my very good friend Matsik, who's a member of the club, we decided to go for a hike. So we went to Ślęża mountain. It was a beautiful day, just snow everywhere. We spent the whole day and we got back. Now, I hadn't hiked in a while, so I was not very fit, and all my body was hurting, even though it was just Ślęża. My legs were hurting, my body was hurting, my head was hurting. So I went to sleep, and I woke up the next day, and everything else was okay except my head was still hurting. And then 2 weeks passed, and every day I would have a headache. It started around afternoon, and then it wouldn't go away until I would take a painkiller. Every day. And I didn't know how to deal with that, so finally I went to the doctor. And after a lot of tests, and MRI scan, and EEG, visit to 3 specialist doctors, it turned out that my headache were caused by a muscle in my back, which was just too stressed and needed some physical therapy, and it was causing everyday stress on my nerves here. So simply that was the problem with the headache. You think, good story. No, that's not the happy ending. That's when the problem started, because I thought all is good, but I did a blood test. One of the first things they did a blood test, normal blood test. And the report came, and one of the things was abnormally high. And that thing is called platelet count in your blood. Now, just to make it simple, if your blood is like a tomato juice, my blood is like a tomato ketchup. So it's a lot thicker. Which, if you understand biology, would know is not a very good thing, because it can cause clots, which can cause stroke and heart attack. So it was urgent to find a reason what is going on. So I got sent to another doctor, and then few more tests, and some very painful tests in some Polish public hospitals. That's an experience I would not like to repeat. Later, I got to know what is wrong. So that was last July, summer day. I went to LuxMed office in Renoma. That's a new LuxMed office, so it's very bright and shiny with clean walls. And my doctor, her name is Magdalena, and she had this red hair and very kind, was sitting there, and I went there to hear about the results. Now, this doctor has a certain way of speaking. First, she scares the shit out of you. Then she sees the color drain from your face, and she starts to say, "It's nothing to worry. You'll be okay." So before, when I first time went to her, she told me, "Zan, there can be 100 reasons for why this count is higher. We just have to rule them out one by one. It could be a simple infection, or it could be cancer." Cancer. That did drain the color out of my face. So when I went back in July after all those horrible tests, I knew that there are very few options that are left now, because we ruled out all the basic ones. And she told me that yes, it is one of the very rare kind of blood cancer. But there is one sentence that I will never forget. She said, "Then if you would have a choice of choosing a kind of blood cancer, this is the one you would choose. Because this is the best blood cancer that you can have." That's my doctor. What she meant was that if I take my medicine that I have to take for life, and if nothing else goes wrong, I should be able to live a normal span that is expected of a person of my age and everything. Now, all this experience was not very easy. It still isn't. I went to the doctor just before this meeting. And just imagine that inner demon that feels this anxiety, so much anxiety and nervousness and stress about the loved ones, how much it felt when I got to know this news. Basically, it got a huge big meal, and it just ate that meal, and this demon grew bigger and bigger and bigger, and a lot of times I didn't know how to deal with it. But surprisingly, when I look back at this experience for the last 2 years, 1 year, I think I did better than I expected, better than I would have done in other circumstances, and there are, I think, 2 reasons for that. First is you guys. I say it all the time, but it's you guys, and I'll tell you why. Because coincidentally, this doctor that I go to, she only has time on Wednesdays between 4 and 6 p.m. in LuxMed. So all my doctor appointments are just before our meetings. It has always been for the last 1 year. So whenever I go there, I get some news, and I have this inner demon coming out and being crazy and driving me crazy at the same time. But I come to our meetings, and after spending 2-3 hours in a nice company as yours, doing the things I love, I calm down. So I'm not as stressed as I was before the meeting. So it has always helped. Even today, I'm sure it is helping. I'm sure it will keep helping. The second, and I got kind of lucky at the same time with this one, because I found a girlfriend, and Sonia, most of you know. I think this is the kind of situation, because I am here, I don't have my family, I don't have my parents, I don't have the usual support system that a lot of people that live here would probably have. In that scenario, the closest person to you is your partner, and in that case it was Sonia, and fortunately for me, maybe not so good for her, but it all started when we started dating. So it was a bit hard in the beginning. And I was afraid that once she would listen, she would run away. But Sonia is not that kind of person. She has been a person who has not only been a rock that I could lean on in these kinds of instances, but has been also a voice of reason and rationality that I tend to lose because my inner demon just takes over and I cannot think straight. And in those moments, it's her who keeps me on track and what I need to do to be healthy and to keep going. And without these 2 things, I think, Without you guys in meeting the social speakers and without the support that I received from Sonia, I don't know if I would have been able to handle this inner demon. And today I come to you and share my struggle of my inner demon and how I deal with it with you guys. Because I'm not the only one with inner demons. We all have them. We all have it different, but we all have them. And I just hope that my story and my way to deal with it may inspire or help you to tackle it.